One.
Hey, what's up, everyone? This is SojuTalk, your weekly shot at K-pop. Today is episode 7, and we are recording on Tuesday, September 18th, 2018. My name's Doug, and today we're joined by Warren.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Jenny.
What's up? It's Johnny.
And Anita.
Hello.
And make sure you guys tune into our post-podcast coverage of Show Me the Money 777. We're covering episode 2. And that should be pretty cool. But that's a YouTube's exclusive, so remember that. But today's main topic will be K-pop survival shows. It's a topic the four of us know a lot about and have a lot of opinions about. But before we get to that, let's go over the big releases for this week. So on September 12th, Wednesday, we had Hyomin with Mango. On September 17th, Monday, we had Got7 with Lullaby. And today, on September 18th, we had Uni.T with I Mean. Only 3 songs this week, but I really liked one of these songs more than the other 2.
Oh, shit. Which one?
Me too.
I thought that this Got7 song was
Yes.
Good. Really good.
Honestly, for me, this is like one of their best songs ever.
Oh, I agree with that too, yeah.
Now, I was on I won't say I'm the biggest Got7 fan, but in general, this song got me hyped for Got7.
Yay,
really
that's
good.
good.
I really liked it.
As the resident Got7 fan, Jenny, what are your opinions of this song?
Okay, so their last comeback was not that impressive. I don't even remember the title right now, but they've never disappointed me until that one. But with this song, they got me back. They got me back out there. It was so good. Like, the music video was cool. The music was good. The dance, oh yeah.
I want to see a performance of that.
Yeah, JB, when he was in the center doing that dance, I was just like, what is going on? I really like this.
Yo, when they had the subway scene, I was like, holy shit, this is some fire-ass dancing, man. What the?
Even when they were like in the chorus or whatever, they were flickering from color to like black and white scenes.
I like that
so cool.
the most, I think, yeah.
And normally I find the rapping of Got7 to be a tiny bit cringy because it's Jackson and Bam Bam and they're a little crazy. But I thought it was completely fine this time, and I was really happy about that.
I honestly felt like they kind of like held themselves back a little bit compared to other times.
I think so too,
Yeah.
and I think it worked to their advantage completely.
Uh.
It didn't feel like they were trying way too hard, and I think that's a great thing with this group.
Cool.
All right, so okay, so Hyomin's Mango, right? I thought it was weird. I've been a fan of Hyomin since Invincible Youth, the reality show back in 2010, right? I've never been a gigantic fan of her solo stuff. I have been a fan of her while she's doing her Tiara stuff, but
Didn't she come out with a song called Nice Body?
yes, that's
yeah.
her.
Okay.
It seems like she doesn't know what an identity she has as a solo artist herself. So it's kind of all over the place. And the one thing that struck me about this song, number one, I thought the song was okay. It wasn't anything fantastic, but I thought the music video was so low budget looking. It felt like she got her backup dancers into a hotel room and they just started filming.
Okay, I have to say though, her makeup and the styling, the pop of orange, pop of yellow, I really like that. And she's so pretty. I think she really looks like Jessica to me for some reason. But
bro,
Jessica
I was
of Girl Generation?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
She does have a Jessica thing going on these days.
I know.
I also have to say, all right, this might be a topic for another time, but I was like, damn, Hyomin's looking a little she's changed so much since I remember her when I first started getting into Tiara back 8 years ago. But at the same time, it's who in K-pop hasn't changed over 8 years, right? Everyone looks way different.
So
I think, you can go on.
Sorry, I did a little bit of a background research, because I wasn't really sure what Hyomin was up to recently. Because obviously Tiara wasn't really big in Korea for a while due to a lot of things. And she's signed to a new company called Sublime Artist Agency.
Wow.
And this seems to be it doesn't seem like a big company so far. And Hyomin is the only person I can kind of recognize on their like portfolio roster.
Is it like a one-person company?
No, there's 3 other people.
Oh, I see.
Is it? Yeah, and so she left MBK back in January, right?
Right.
And but the thing with Tiara and MBK is a little fuzzy because she stated in interviews that she still wants to do stuff with Tiara because although Tiara after their bullying scandal that kind of like killed them, they haven't been successful in Korea. They are still huge in China. They have like a pretty big market in China, and it seems like the company she joined, Sublime Artist Agency, they have some connections in China, so this is more like a half China, half Korea thing going on with her.
That's smart of her then.
It is honestly because Tiara has such a like tainted reputation at this point in Korea that you need to explore other avenues.
It's kind of sad.
Now, okay, let's move on to the last song, Uni.T. I Mean. It's already their last song. Craziness.
Wait, what?
It's their last song, dude.
Isn't this their second song?
Yeah, this is the last one though.
Holy shit, man.
And they did. So Uni.T is a group that was formed out of the survival show, The Unit, which we'll talk about in the main topic. But they're pretty much so The Unit as a show was meant to revitalize the career of the artists who were participating. So they were all previously debuted for the most part. Now, honestly, it hasn't been that much of a success. And even in this comeback, they didn't have a full lineup because ZN from Laboom wasn't a part of this.
Oh my god.
Did I see a girl from Daya in here?
Yeah.
Yes. So some of the girls in it, it's Yebin from Daya, who's pretty much one of the main singers of Daya, right?
Uh-huh.
They have Eujin from Sonamu, who's like the face of Sonamu at this point. They have Woohee from Dalshabet.
Okay.
They have Unji1 from what fucking group was she from?
You mean Yang Ji-won, right? From
Yang Ji-won.
Spica?
Yeah, my bad.
Spica.
Yeah, Spica, right? Who was the main girl of
Unji
that.
was like a guy and is like.
I know Unji was the guy, the reality show guy. My bad. And then they also have like a girl called Hyunju who used to be in April. They have Yoonjo who used to be in Hello Venus. They have that girl Suzy who was a part of the ARC and Natural Girls and a bunch of other stuff. So it's just a complete mixed group of kids, all right? And
I was just like, I know all these familiar faces.
exactly. So like, even if you haven't watched The Unit or anything, you'll watch that and you'll be like, I swear I've seen some of these people before. And their age range is crazy because G1 is like, she's 30, I think.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Shit already.
And then they have someone like Hyunju who's like 20.
Crazy.
But I thought the song was pretty good, and it's kind of a shame that they're already ending because this song wasn't bad. It was a pretty good song.
Yeah.
How long were they out for?
I can look this up 1 second.
It says they debuted in May, and they came together on February 11th.
Yeah, dude. So like they gave them like 9 months.
That's
my
so
God.
short.
They're
Dang.
like, all right, good luck.
That sucks for them.
Honestly, it's from what I can tell, it's been even worse with the guy group. Like they've barely done
UNB.
anything.
Oh right,
Yeah,
yeah.
UNB. They've barely done anything other than go on like a gag concert a couple times.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone does that
Yeah.
though.
I really like this song though because I don't know. I watched the unit and we'll go into this more, but I watched the unit and there was a couple of the girls that I really wanted in this group. And yeah, like everybody said, this song is kind of like if this had been the debut, maybe they would have had more attention in the beginning. But I don't know. The video is really cool. It has like a 90s vibe.
I would say
So,
the main
okay.
feeling I got was that obviously these people are pros.
Yeah,
When you watch
yeah,
this music
right,
video, you're
right.
like, clearly they know what they're doing. And for some, they probably have like a combined like 30 years of experience between all of
Yeah.
them. It's like, it's crazy.
A lot of experience.
Yeah, but let's move on to the show winners. So the big winners of this week were, not a surprise, BTS with Idol. They won Show Champion, they won Music Bank, and they won Inkigayo. And for Inkigayo, they triple crowned, which means that they won it 3 times, so they can't win it anymore. But that's the whole goal for Inkigayo, is to try to triple crown 3 weeks in a row. And I'm pretty sure this brings their total up to 8 wins for this song, which is great considering they've only promoted 1 week in Korea.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. Crazy.
And then the other winners, we had Sunmi with Siren winning for M Countdown. It's the only win for the song so far, but I think she deserves more wins for that song because it's amazing. And then lastly, this morning, Oh My Girl won with Remember Me, which is a little bit of a shock. And if there's a video out of them winning and they were completely shocked themselves.
Wow.
Shit.
That's surprising.
Yeah, it's their third win overall.
Oh, wow. They've won before.
Yeah, they've won before. So I was thinking, like, out of the third gen groups that are kind of struggling, they're probably doing the best.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, congrats to them.
Definitely. But all right, so that's all the housekeeping. Let's get into the main topic of survival shows. Man, I love me a good survival show. There's something about the struggle, which is great.
Yes.
And the progression.
And once you get hooked, like, it will suck your life out of it, and it becomes your life.
Okay, so when I was researching this topic, I was looking at the shows in general, and it really comes down to two types of survival shows. There's one that makes permanent groups, which is generally done by a company to promote their new group. Or there are survival shows that make temporary groups that are like a mixed bag of kids from different companies, and they're really coming together to just make a group for a certain amount of time. So, in general, in my opinion, survival shows that are making permanent groups are way more successful than the shows that are making temporary groups.
I think you have a point, yeah.
Now I will say 101 coming out of Produce 101 Season 2 is the complete outlier, right? But it's hard to make an actual judgment on them because they're not in the post 101 era yet.
Right.
Now, the group has been successful, but as you all know, IOI from Produce Season 1 was also decently successful, but since then, they haven't been successful.
Are we talking about the shows themselves, or are you just talking about the
groups?
I think we should talk about the shows and the resulting groups because it's all encompassed in it. But yeah, you're right. Let's start with the shows themselves. Why do we like survival shows, right? Like, survival shows for me, it's the one way to really get to know the contestants, especially during the struggle.
I think it's kind of like, I guess for me, it's just like watching like a music show. I see someone I like, but the good thing about survival shows, like, you get to see more about their like personality, not just like singing and dancing, but you know, how they struggle and all that stuff. And you kind of like start to form like feelings for them. You're like, oh shit, I really want this kid to make it. And then that's when your life is ruined.
Yo, shout out to Judy from Produce 48.
Judy!
LOL, Warren.
I mean, I see. Okay, so I come from a different perspective, right? Because I haven't seen a lot of these survival audition kind of shows up until Produce 48. I saw clips, but I've never seen like whole episodes upon episodes upon episodes, you know, like and then Produce 48 hit, and like every week I was like twaddling my thumbs around every week until like the new episode hits. So like what I think like makes them really successful is like you get to see everything that goes behind the scenes. Like, you know, like you get to see you get to see people hang out, you know, like you get to see people like go eat fucking ice cream or some shit, you know, like you never get to see that in like Music Bank, you know, like, you know what I mean? Like, this is really cool.
Okay, I think it's also that, but you know, you could always find that kind of stuff in like their idol realities. But I think why survival shows are more successful is because it's a competition essentially, and there's like elimination going on, and you have to get invested if you don't want your kid to get eliminated.
Shit, yeah.
Even on the shows where the viewers don't determine the eliminated kids, it's the same type of thing where it's like finding that person you like on that show makes the viewing experience so much deeper.
I know.
You actually care about what's going to happen in this person's life going forward.
Also, like, oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say that for me, just going on with what you guys have already said, I think when I view the contestants, I just feel like I get to see a side of them that non-polished side.
Yeah.
Like they haven't really debuted yet, and they're competing with other people to have the audience's attention. So I think like their personality and how they react to like problems and the competition really comes out, and you get to see them as a person, I think.
It's like that that started from the bottom, now we hear type
Yeah.
of thing. Or like you like even let's talk about Produce 48 real quick. It's like you see some of those kids episode 1, you're like, oh shit, you're so screwed, but I think you're really cute. Like that's like it's like how do I put it? It's like finding a stray puppy out in the wild. You're like, oh my god, I hope you do well, right?
Yeah, but it's like that. But then the stray puppies start fighting each other.
Oh,
what?
I mean, not directly fighting. Each other.
I
mean,
it's
like,
more like you
the
watch
owners.
the puppy grow up.
Okay.
The owners are fighting each other.
Yeah.
How about puppy race? You see puppies race against each other.
Sure,
Is
why
that a better
not?
analogy?
Okay. There's this term in like the Korean idol world called shinin mi, which means mi is basically like beauty and shinin is like rookie. So I guess it's like beauty of like rookies or whatever. So that just means like instead of like going for idols that are, you know, like that's been out for 5 or 6 years, these people only like new idols.
Really?
Like the new rookies. Yeah. And I think I kind of have that too. But I think there's just something about, you know, people just starting out, people like trying to make it up there. It's way more fun to like watch them and like imagine how well they're going to be instead of, you know, like watching a really successful idol who's been out there like 5 or 6 years.
There's something to be said about like the shiny new toy.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's very common in like all aspects of life. Like something new comes up and you're like, ooh, what's this, right?
Exactly.
But at the same time, I think these types of shows are so good because you get invested in the people before the music, and that just makes your fandom so much more meaningful.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Because if you like, I was thinking about the groups I like certain groups just for the music, right? Not about the people. Like that's how it is with me and Red Velvet. Honestly, I just think that they make good music, but I'm not super invested in the people. Whereas for the longest time, a group like Twice, I was more invested in the kids than the actual music. But at the same time, I sometimes think that's not as good because I'm willing to let them have worse songs just because I like them. Like,
I mean, from a business standpoint, that's a better idea because even if they kind of flop at the single, that means they're gonna have like a good outcome in terms of money. And for idols, that's great too because that means you'll be able to like have a longer career. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, talking about these groups that come out of these reality shows, I'm pretty sure that iZone is number 1 in my tier now.
Wow.
Holy shit.
They've definitely overthrown Twice, unfortunately.
You know,
they haven't even debuted it yet.
Bro. Okay, so I signed up for that cafe. It's not a real cafe, which I realized.
oh my god.
So I know it's not a real cafe. I signed up. I had Ward help me figure out how to apply for the level up Majig. I did that, so I'm now a full member and I can see all the posts, and I'm just sit there waiting for new content.
Oh, aren't the iZone members like leaving like fan letters in there and shit? Like,
there's fan letters, and the official photos have like profile photos have dropped and stuff.
Doug, are you gonna buy like the official fan club?
If there is one, I will.
See, I've never bought that for any other idol in my life, but I did it for 101 because it's the first and last official club member. That's why I bought it.
I also like, honestly, I kind of like the fact that there's an expiration date on the group. Like, because
Say what?
What the fuck is wrong with you?
This is what I'll say. The reasoning is, right? I can always support the kids in the group, but it means that I actually have to engage my time in this group because there is a limited amount of time. So I have to not take any moment for granted in my fandom of this group because most K-pop groups, you have like a 5-6 year shelf life.
Right.
But when you're down to like half of that, it means that I have to care way more, way sooner.
Yep.
You know, I kind of like having the expiration date for a different reason though. Especially with iZone, right? Because I kind of like what I think is really cool is like when people leave when they're successful. You know, like you know, like when you clap, you gotta leave. Like you can't stay. You know, like the one quote from Batman. It's like, if you you don't want to stay for too long and then watch yourself become the villain or that kind of thing.
I see that.
You know what I mean?
There's something about leaving at the top.
Right.
Right.
And I wouldn't say IOI was at the absolute top, but they left on a very high note. And
I
it's
feel like
something.
if IOI was still around, like they might have been like the equivalent as Twice. You never know, right?
I think so too.
I feel like they would have been right under like
Red
Velvet, Twice,
Yeah.
Blackpink level. I think they would have been like the sort of group that wins a couple shows every time they come back, but not super, super crazy big, which I think would have been a great position for them in general.
I know, but it's sad because we can't see that happen.
But let's get into some of the examples, especially for my opinion I stated at the beginning of permanent shows versus temporary shows, right? So some of the permanent groups that are coming out of survival shows are Twice, Winner, Icon, Monster X, Momoland, VIX, 2PM, 2AM. These are all pretty big groups, right?
Yes.
Right.
And I was shocked when I was making this list of how big these groups were. And I didn't realize that all of these groups came from these shows. But I think some of the big examples of survival shows working really well are the Hot Blood Men, 2PM and 2AM is a really famous example.
Oh yeah. That show was big.
That show was big and it was brutal.
I think shows like these, if you look at who the people who got eliminated, then you realize how big it is. So from this show, the Yoon Do-jun from Highlight was eliminated.
Oh.
Yeah.
Shit, who else? I think he's like the most famous one. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
I feel like there was another big person.
Dog, there's one more. There's a Big Bang survival show.
Oh
There
right,
was?
yeah.
Okay. See, I wasn't really into fandoms back then, but explain that one.
So it's Big Bang. There's 6 kids, and the 5 of them is of course Big Bang, and then the other one is Chang Hyun-sung, who was part of Beast and Troublemaker.
It's crazy the talent that got eliminated off of some of these shows.
I know. I think
Absolutely.
And it's crazy because they all eventually, found their own path and became successful.
But I also think for at least girl groups, the show 16 to Make Twice is probably the biggest example because that show really got the ball rolling for them and it still hasn't stopped. Like that show was ridiculously successful. And I think for companies like JYP to do a show like that, the show already comes with a certain level of standard because it is JYP doing it, right?
Okay, but during the time, did a lot of people actually watch 16?
From what I remember, it was pretty big. I know it was pretty big in the international community. I guess you're right because they didn't win until their second or third song. They won with.
I mean, that was still pretty fast, if you ask me.
Yeah.
It is still pretty fast, but we live in the era where you could win off of your debut song like Blackpink.
That's true, but
it was pretty big, and I think it really solidified the fact that they were going to be successful. And when you're a guy like JYP and you're like, I have these trainees and I'm gonna make a show, the whole K-pop world watches because it's like must-watch TV because the group coming out of it's going to be humongous. But on the flip side, we have some of these temporary shows, like all the produced shows have all been pretty successful because that's the main temporary group survival show conglomerate.
They're the originals, yeah.
They're the originals. Everyone knows that the show's going to have that crazy Mnet editing where it's going to be so much more dramatic than it needs to be. And you're going to get sucked in completely. But then you have some of the temporary group shows that were not done by the produced brand. You have the Unit, Mix 9, Boys 24. Yeah. All of those have kind of been a struggle after the fact.
They all came after produced too,
Yeah. So you got the Unit with Uni.T and Wait, how do I... UNB, okay, yeah, crazy names. But the problem, so that show was meant to revitalize the career of previously debuted idols, but it really hasn't accomplished that at all because once these groups end, it's kind of they're in the exact same spot they were in. But I had a thought of, although they haven't been as successful, I'm still happy that a lot of these kids had another shot at being successful.
Yeah.
So I think a very good example of this is someone like Kwon Eun-bi, who's going to be an IZ*ONE, right? So she was born in 1995, which means that she is 23-ish, I would assume. Did I do my math right? Yeah, 23. Now, IZ*ONE is on a 2.5-year contract. So when they're done, she'll be like 26, right? Now, if Woolim doesn't put her in a group during the IZ*ONE period, she's pretty much probably done with her idol career at that point, right? Because it's very rare for someone to debut as an idol when they're 26. Now, is it unfortunate that that's the case? Of course. But IZ*ONE is like her shot at doing something relevant in the K-pop world, because she was previously in another group and they completely failed, and this is her like redemption shot. And I think it's great for her that she at least has like 3 years to do something relevant in her career. So that's just the other aspect of it. But at the same point, it's like I wish she would have a long, fruitful career, but that's just not how it always works.
I mean, even if you have like a 2.5-year career, like that's like not something
it's
everyone
something.
can achieve. Yeah,
it's something.
It's definitely something you're proud of.
I mean, like, okay, so there's another show called Mix 9, which was pretty much a direct copycat of Produce, but it was done by YG. They did the whole show. They had like pretty good trainees. They had people from JYP and like YG directly. Oh yeah. Right. And then they never even made the group back. They won.
Nothing happened, Anita. Nothing.
I mean, YG's a fucking dick for doing this. Like, it's like really sad. I think
it is. Yeah.
Because the winner was Woo Jin-young, and he was on Produce.
Chachi.
Yeah, that one, and he doesn't even get to debut. Like, what the fuck is this?
You know, like on the female side of that show, Dreamcatcher, all of them were on that show.
Yeah,
they dropped out halfway through because they just got busy.
I watched a bunch of like Mix 9 clips, and their skill level is like, wow. It is so good. Their songs are so good. Like, everyone's a good singer. Everyone's a good dancer.
Mix 9 was actually, the kids were very talented on that show.
Yeah.
Good people. I don't know why.
Very good people.
Like, you remember Han Hedy from Produce 101 Season 1? She didn't even make Mix 9. She got eliminated.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
It's because the kids had to be like YG style, you know? Like, YG had to like them.
What happened to Isumin from Produce, right?
Oh my god, I know.
I don't know what that is.
She's doing well, I think, though. She's under Lowen now, right?
Yes.
No, is she? Yeah, she is.
No, didn't they just drop them? I could have swore I saw.
Oh my god, I can't remember what happened to her. But shit. Anyway, there were so many like familiar faces there too. And it's just so bad that YG just fucked up. Like
That's the risk you take though for not being on like a company sponsored show though. You know what I mean? Like because you got to think the main issue that all of the temporary groups has is logistics. Because you're managing kids from like 9 different companies, it's a complete mess. And
speaking of YG though, I would say their successful shows. It was Who Is Next and Next in Match. And I think it was like a really great way for them to build the fandoms for these two groups.
So Winner won that show, right?
Yes.
And then Icon was the team that lost, right?
Yes. So that was Icon's second survival show. And for Bobby and BI, it was their third because they went on Show Me the Money 3.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but didn't YG make a statement during Who Is Next that whoever lost was not gonna be a group? So like that was...
Yep, that's what it said.
Yeah.
Yep, and then like, no, it's like we're still gonna have another survival show.
Dude, he saw the dollar signs. That's what he saw.
YG, this guy, he never he makes promises and he never keeps them. Okay, this guy is fucking crazy.
Bro, he loves the dungeon, the basement dungeon.
Oh, yeah, Yangyeonseok's 보물함, that's what they call it. Yeah, it's
treasure
ridiculous.
Box full of undead people.
Even a show like okay, so but there are examples where the permanent group shows haven't been that like Finding Momoland. The show wasn't that successful. It's just that the group got viral after the fact. So that's
I've never even heard of that.
That's an example of a show that wasn't so successful at the time, but the group itself still made it. I definitely the show probably contributed to that, but it wasn't the main reason.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing I would say with like a group like VIX. I don't remember that show happening.
I didn't even know until
that show's hilarious.
Wait, VIX had a survival show? What?
Yeah,
if you guys watch it, it's really funny.
So I would say though, at least over like on an average, shows that are produced by a company to make a group that they fully back, you have a pretty high chance of making it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just because there's one company and your company is so invested in you guys making it because they're even investing in you to have a show, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
and I think the exposure before you debut is so critical to gaining a fan base because it instantly means your first song's probably going to be pretty successful.
Mhm.
On the other hand, these temporary shows, it's like if the show doesn't catch fire, good luck. Like you're pretty screwed. That's honestly what happened with the unit, where the viewership just keep going down over time, and it didn't help that Rain was on that show and he released those terrible songs.
Oh my god.
That gang song, which was one of the most cringy songs of last year, and it kind of got everyone off of that show.
Another
And-
really sad thing with, which I just kind of like realized this, but like, didn't Mix 9 and the unit kind of air at the same time?
They did.
Yeah.
literally at the same time.
And wasn't there like a lot of like broadcasting problems going on at the time? Like I like, what's Palb in English? And like
What's what?
Palb.
Oh, it's like it's kind of like boycotting or protesting.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, okay.
So they weren't able to
Yeah.
like properly broadcast like shows and like soccer was going on.
Yeah,
And, like,
it's just really those two. It's like really unfortunate in general.
Yeah.
'Cause
yeah.
I'm always down for a redemption story for like the kids on the unit, and it just didn't work out like they thought it would. But
I wonder what the guys who are in the winning group of Mix 9 feel about this whole thing, because
I mean, Happy
Well-
Face is suing still.
yeah, Happy Face.
wait,
sued
seriously?
YG.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
YG like he hired like one of the. It's like a bad It's like a law company, but anyway, it's like a whole mess. Right
Yeah,
now.
like
Yeah.
YG hired like the slimiest, most powerful lawyers you could possibly get.
Yes, exactly.
And it pretty much means he'll win the case. They're saying.
Which is terrible because we all know he did wrong.
I think it just
Yeah.
comes
It
down
was
to the fact.
broadcasting, yeah.
I just think it comes down to the fact that YG is just a businessman at the end of the day, and he's not
But-
like a
Yeah.
Overall,
good guy.
I still love survival shows regardless of what happens.
Okay, I have a question.
Okay.
If Produce 101 season 4 comes out,
Oh
are you
my
guys gonna
God.
watch it?
Of course I'm going
Yes.
to watch it. Even if it's guys, I will watch it and I'll become a fan
yeah.
of them.
You know, I was previously, I probably would have said no, but even if it's guys, I'll probably watch it. Yes.
Hell yeah,
Yeah.
I
I
will.
think the thing with Produce 101, it's gonna be really, really successful. Like, I don't know how many seasons they're gonna come up. It might fall later, but right now it's gonna be so hype. But then I feel like all the copycat shows, like the Unit, Mix 9, like
Yeah.
no one's gonna really watch that.
They need to like at least if they're gonna ever do girls again, they need to wait a couple years because it's the talent pool has been reduced significantly.
Oh yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you gotta think kids like An Yujin and Jang Won-young are like 15, 16. So like, what are we gonna have like 12-year-olds on this shit in a couple years?
Oh god.
Oh my god. I don't want to see that.
No.
Holy
no one
shit.
wants that.
Can I make a comment though? So you pointed out how there's like two types of like these shows, right? The ones that produce permanent groups, and the others that produce temporary groups. And for the permanent groups, you mentioned that they were like backed up by like companies, right?
Yeah.
Like management labels. But I feel like there should be a third category, right? Of shows that take normal ass non-trainee people and turn them into groups, right?
This is true.
Because Boys 24 apparently took about 49 kids who had no training experience and made a group
Oh.
called Into It.
I watched this.
And then Idol School took another bunch of normal girls and turned them into a girl
Bro,
group.
they weren't
from
normal
Slime.
though.
Oh, really? I thought the whole point was
No,
they're
mean-
supposed to be-
dude, like
So-
Jo Yuri was on that show.
Yeah.
The
Wasn't
thing
Joey-
is, they probably had previous experience for other companies, but when they came out, like they didn't really have a company. Like Nati from
Oh.
JYP, like she left
Right,
JYP,
right.
right?
Yeah, I was
They were
like,
trying.
I think it's different because on Idol School, when I remember watching it, there were some kids who were notable, like Ihan from Produce 101 and Nati and a couple other kids. But I would say the vast feeling you got were a lot of these kids were way more raw than the Produce kids.
I think it's like how on Produce 101 there's like the K in Yeonsupsangs.
Mm-hmm.
It's
There was
like,
a lot
it's
of
like,
them.
It's like a bunch of that in idol.
There were a lot of those, but there were definitely kids who were in companies because like Janggi Stone, Doyuri Stone, those type of kids.
But Stone Company is the idol school company. Promise 9 is Stone.
As far as I know, Stone Music was basically made by Mnet to cater to the need of idol school and like their future Mnet
this
talents.
makes more sense now because the whole show was a little strange in general.
Yeah, it was.
It was a good time, but at the same point, it's like it just felt like the super talented kids. It didn't matter how talented you were on that show.
Wasn't that the show with like the promotional video where it was like, oh, we're looking for pretty girls. All you gotta do is be pretty.
Fucked up.
That was kind of weird, low key.
I mean, if we based it on skill, Uni.T should have made that group, but and she didn't make it, and it's terrible.
Nah.
I feel really bad about that. Hyomin didn't make it. I mean, Joyuri didn't make it. Now we look in retrospect. Although, if you want to see something funny, watch Joyuri clips from that show. It's so funny because she looks so bewildered and has zero confidence.
I heard like she got shit on that show for copying Chae-Jung.
Oh, Chae-Jung from
she kind of tried to do the same type of thing, and also it's one of those things that once she went on Produce, she learned how to do makeup and had an image that was better. Like she, on Idol School, she went with like black hair, no makeup look for most of the season.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
and she just looked really lost. And once she went on Produce and she figured out her image and she got more confident, then it all clicked. So someone like her actually benefited from not making the Promise 19. Because look at her now. IZ*ONE will. I'm willing to bet will definitely be more successful than Promise 9.
Oh, I can tell. Yeah.
But dude, survival shows, it's like watching a car accident, and you know you shouldn't look, but you really want to. Because you know it's gonna be a mess, but you're like, this is the best mess ever.
Oh my god, isn't it crazy how people who got eliminated from 16, like Somi became IOI, Chaeyeon became IZ*ONE, and then I think her name was Jiwon. She became Promise 9.
So it's like that first class was like of 16 was really strong.
Yeah, exactly.
And if they had done the show maybe a year or two later, it would have been a completely different playing field, I feel.
Oh, yeah.
Like if Uni.T was a little older, if Chaeyeon was a little older and Somi was a little older, it would have been the competition would have been crazy, I feel.
How do you what do you think about like gonna happen in the future though? Like, are these shows gonna continue to be like big or?
I think that other than companies produce shows and the Produce series, we won't see as many because they haven't been successful.
Okay.
I think the Produce show comes with a certain prestige that the show's going to be good. Regardless of the kids who are on it, the show will be good because of the good editing and stuff like that.
Right.
And whenever a big company wants to do one of these shows, it'll catch fire because rumors are JYP has the second season of 16 coming out soon, and everyone's going to watch that.
Right.
But other than that, I don't think that these shows will happen as frequently. I think this was a little bit of a fad where everyone thought they could do it.
They'll die down.
But they've learned that it's a lot harder than it looks.
Right, because the unit and Mix 9 kind of fell flat.
But support IZ*ONE because I'm definitely LOL. I will get that Handa Hitomi album. I will buy it on eBay if I have to get the version of it that I want. I will pull a Jenny and buy a gajillion copies like she does.
I think it's time we move on. Holy shit.
Well, fanboy them while you can.
Yeah, sad face. But let's go on to the news from last week. The big news, probably the biggest one.
Oh my god.
That Hyuna and Pentagon's Edon were kicked out of Cube Entertainment in relation to their dating scandal that happened like a month ago.
Hey, yo, Cube, what you doing? Holy shit.
When they dropped them, their stock dropped 9% that day.
Yeah.
Only 9%? Come on, what the fuck?
9%'s 9%'s a lot.
Yeah, I'm just
Okay, I have to say though, I'm not that worried about Q.
I'm not honestly. Okay, so
it will be fine
because their new group is about to be lit.
G-Idol?
No, like their new boy group.
Oh wait.
No.
Oh.
This is gonna be
coming out with a new-
Lycon Lee Yusono Uchan from
Oh,
Show Me the
Uchan.
Money.
God.
It's just full of talent,
Yep.
okay?
Yeah,
It's
but
gonna be lit.
When is that happening though? What if all of
I
the
don't
trainees
know.
leave? Like, what if?
I have a question about this scandal in general, which will mostly be answered by Jenny or Warren. So, there was a big discrepancy in reactions from Korean fans and I fans, where I fans were completely outraged by this, as I was, where it seemed like a lot more of the Korean fans were kind of okay with this happening. Can you explain why that is?
I think I'm on the side with it's okay. Because if you were a Pentagon fan, like if you were an Egon fan, or even Hyuna fan, like he did a lot of the deceiving stuff, you know? Like he tricked the fans and they all together, they tricked the company. So of course the company's gonna be mad. Like they basically violated like stuff that they weren't supposed to do. I guess like culturally, like this might not be easy to understand in America. But
I see that.
Yeah, in Korea, if you just think about it from the business side and like the loyalty of like, you know, the fans and like, you know, you have that trust between the fan and the artist. They completely broke that, you know?
So yeah, I see that then, because it seems like then international fans we sometimes have a habit of viewing things with a international lens, right? Where we judge what goes on in the scene based on what we feel is normal, based on our culture, right? Like, so in America, dating is fine. Celebrities date all the time. It's completely normal. But it's important to understand what the framework of this, because this happens in Korea, right? So it's a completely different thing. And I guess I could see why Korean fans would be more accepting of this. I saw someone sent a wreath to Cube saying good job.
Oh Jesus.
That was something. But
I do feel like it's not like as like extreme of an opinionated situation. Like I still saw a lot of comments saying Cube, you know, like they shouldn't have done that. You know what I mean? Like,
bro, I saw memes that they said Edon was gonna join produce season 4.
Oh my god, he would.
I saw those memes, and then the one other thing that was related to this was that Hyuna's stylist posted an AOMG business card on Instagram, and her manager removed Cube from her bio.
Damn.
So there are a lot of rumors swirling around that Hyuna might be joining AOMG.
No way.
I would like to see that. Holy shit!
I would like to see that too.
I could honestly, I could see it happening.
Yeah.
Imagine J Park and Hyuna dancing together in a music video.
They're both from JYP.
Oh yeah,
Oh
they
yeah.
are.
Oh my god.
Yo, what if they drop the most fire diss track ever? And Cube and JYP, like they just go for it. It would be bananas. All right. Next news was that BTS's Japanese comeback track "Bird" was to be written by AKB48 producer Akimoto, but Korean fans were really angry because there's rumors, I don't know if they're true or not, that Akimoto is very right-leaning in Japanese politics, which is a big no-no in Korea. And therefore, a couple days later, Big Hit Entertainment removed his song from the album.
Hey yo!
I mean, they did the right thing, I think. The fans were outrageous.
Okay. This is a complete Doug opinion. Does not reflect the opinions of the show or anything, right? Now, obviously, I have a different opinion because I am a Korean American born in America. My ties to Korea are very thin, I would say, right?
Yes.
I understand the historical context of the Japanese-Korean relationships, and I understand the terrible things they've done and stuff like that. And I get why Koreans get angry when these type of right-wing controversies come up, right? How much of it, though, do you feel is warranted and should be allowed? Like, how much outrage do you feel is acceptable?
I don't know if I could answer that. Holy shit!
Because I always question that, because if I'm a Japanese guy, right? Like, let's put yourself in the shoes of this Akimoto guy.
Hi.
Is it completely wrong to like have nationalism for the country he was born in? Now, I get they did terrible things, right? And I think objectively everyone knows they did bad things. But at the same point, it's difficult for me. I wrestle with it a lot in my head, like from his perspective.
Let's put it like this. It's kind of like supporting the Nazi. Okay.
Oh,
That's
wow.
how no, it's exactly right because that's how Koreans see it. That's how they feel. I mean, they really did terrible things. And there's this term in Korea called "나라 위에 덕질," which means fangirling over your country. And you're not supposed to do that. And even the armies, like the BTS fans, they're like, yeah, we can't support this because supporting this means that they're putting all of the terrible things, terrible history, they're supporting that. They're putting that over, no, they're just putting BTS over that fact.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Can you be conservative in so we're gonna get into politics real quick, but can you be conservative in Japan while recognizing the things they've done wrong though? That's the question.
It's kind of difficult to do that. Knowing how Japanese politics works, that's kind of difficult to like recognize that and be conservative at the same time.
Yeah.
I'm gonna disagree with Jenny a little bit here, mainly because I feel like the controversy about how right-leaning Akimoto is kind of slightly like exaggerated. Especially,
that's what I was wondering. Yeah.
Especially within certain communities. But I do feel like he is a bit more right-leaning than left-leaning.
I could see that.
And that's obviously not going to play well with the Koreans. So regardless of it being right or wrong, I do feel like it was a bad move on Big Hit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's not smart.
I was going to say, regardless of his own personal feelings of Japanese historical politics, he's definitely making an attempt to bridge the gap in the entertainment world, at least. Like agreeing to do Akimoto doing no. I was going to say like they had an agreement between Big Hit and him to make a song. That's already like a pretty big gesture on his part because that's a busy dude. Right,
yeah.
He's agreed to do the Produce 48 thing. That took a lot. Like that was a big risk for him too, on a business sense.
I mean, I feel like at this point though, like BTS is huge, right? I feel like he would benefit more than BTS benefiting from his song. You know what I mean?
I think that I could see that they would benefit more, but it's not to say like an Akimoto song in Japan carries some clout as well, and. I know everyone in Japan would listen to the song regardless of who wrote it. Having someone like Akimoto joining in on that is not the worst thing in the world in terms of business. But and I also feel a lot of times in like as we've seen in Produce, sometimes they accuse people of being right leaning for the most ridiculous things. I'm not saying this case is one of those cases, but when they were accusing like Shitao Miu for being right-leaning because she's from a prefecture where a general was from, something like that is a little crazy to me.
It kind of has to do with the fact how internet works, like people find things out, it gets exaggerated, people go crazy over the smallest fucking thing, and this happens. Let's be honest, this happens on Reddit, this happens on Korean communities. It's just
true.
It happens with different subjects. So I think it's good to keep in mind that these things happen, and we should try to move away from it, but it's gonna happen regardless, honestly.
And here's the other example. It's like no one's pissed off that he's involved in the iZone stuff.
Right.
So it's like I would say at least iZone fans are not pissed off at all that he's involved in this.
No, but I think that also has to do with the fact that iZone fans already kind of recognize it and they're fine with it, whilst sorry, one more thing. I do know that like earlier on, before Produce 48 aired, like there was a lot of like, especially in the female communities, there were people like, oh shit, like Akimoto is just
okay. I will agree on that though. He has a history of like really. How do I put it? It's not sexist, but like putting young girls in sexual situations that they really don't need to be in. But that is also under the lens of the Japanese entertainment industry is heavily influenced by that anyway.
All right.
So let's move on. But that was a good discussion. I like that kind of discussion. But police. Okay, so this is the whole Guhara assault charge thing.
Hey, yo, hot gossip of the week.
This is banana. Okay, so. I'll give a quick timeline. So everyone knows Guhara. She's from Kara. She's been an idol mainstay for the last like 10 years. She was brought up on assault charges from her boyfriend, who is they said a makeup artist, something like that. We'll just say he's a regular guy. We don't know who he is, but
isn't he a hairdresser?
Something like that, yes.
Yeah.
So the initial reports was that Guhara was just being charged with assault charges against this guy, right? And when I read that, I was like, what the hell? Right? But of course, there's always more layers to this. Her side of the story is that she was sleeping. He came into their apartment or her apartment, kicked her awake, and then they had a fight.
Kicked
What?
Kicked her awake. That's what she said. And
Dang.
the medical diagnosis, she released her own medical diagnosis. She has a bunch of scratches and bruises. You could look these up. They're kind of graphic. So warning you. She had internal bleeding.
What?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my God.
I won't say where, but it was like in the feminine regions. She had it was not from rape, they said, but it was from like getting punched in the stomach, that kind of
Oh
thing.
my God.
Wait, why is Lauren laughing at this?
No, he's laughing at the situation,
I'm
not
not
the
laughing
action.
at her being hurt. I'm laughing at how ridiculous this is.
Oh, okay.
Don't, Jesus, I'm not a
Jesus
sick
Christ.
fuck. Oh my God.
Huh?
But
Holy shit,
So-
these pictures.
so he's saying that he came over her house to break up with her, and then she basically flipped out and just beat him up. And they had but the main difference I'll say is she's saying they both fought, right? So he has bruises definitely, she has bruises definitely. He's saying that she did all of it, which doesn't make sense when she also has bruises and injuries, right?
Yeah, she didn't punch herself.
So we will see what happens, but this is absolutely bananas. And the issues for Guhara's side seems to be trying to end this as quickly as possible because obviously she's a celebrity. This isn't good media. And number two, because she was the one to come out with like tons of evidence first. It seems that they're worried that that his side might sue for defamation. So overall, a complete like absolute shit show. And I just hope they can resolve this, and violence is never an
Yeah.
answer in any of this.
Yeah.
I just find it kind of like ridiculously surprising that like I don't know Carl too well, right? I don't know Kuwara too well. I don't know what she's like, but she's this pretty girl who like sings and just laughs and like on TV, and then I saw a news report about how she beat up this guy, or they were in a fight or whatever.
Honestly, my first reactions was like, "There's no way that happened. There has to be more to the story." That was my initial reaction, but
like, what is like the last person you kind of expect to do this thing? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
for our listeners at home, violence is never the answer in a relationship. If you are being abused, please seek help. Get out of the relationship.
Call
Violence
the cops.
is never the answer.
Call
to
the
any of
popo.
this. There's definitely services to help you out in your situation. And also, when you're in a relationship, if you truly love someone, would you ever really want to abuse them? Verbally, mentally, physically, any event. That's my disclaimer. But crazy situation. We will keep you updated on it. I hope everything turns out well for, honestly, both parties because it's a terrible situation overall. Okay, next news. Another humongous news. Zico reportedly leaving Block B once his contract ends in November.
Jesus Christ.
Sad but expected.
Yep.
So Block B is this company. They've been around for a while. Zico is their most popular member. He's a producer. He's a rapper. He's super successful individually. And it seems like he's outgrown the group.
Yep.
Kind of feels like it, yeah.
And I honestly think that this has been coming for a couple years. And I have said in the past that I respect him for sticking around with his crew, even though he's definitely outgrown them. And it seems at this point, everyone's pretty much okay with this because everyone realizes the situation and not much you can do about it.
I'll say I went on Zico's Instagram to see how like the fans were reacting, and they were all just like, oh, "Thanks for the past 7 years or so."
Yeah, see,
That's
I
great.
think this is going to be one of those amicable breakups. I think Sistar is the prime example where a group broke up and they were all ready for it to end. Lastly, we have Twice ranks #1 on, is it Oricon? Is that how I say this, Warren?
Yeah.
Oricon's weekly charts and
How would I
chops
know?
the daily chart for 6 days in a row. And
Wow.
this is like, so the album actually released a week or so after the music video, and they still topped the charts for about a week.
Holy shit.
My God.
And
But
I've been looking up
big.
the brand power of girl groups in Japan, and they're by far #1 right now.
Holy shit.
Mhm.
Oh, by the way,
They-
Twice. Oh, sorry. Go on.
No, you could go.
Oh no, Twice also got 400 million views with TT on YouTube.
Yeah,
Dang.
crazy talk.
That's a lot of views.
But those were all the big news stories. They were all humongous, and I honestly hope the next week is not as news. Like I don't like when crazy stuff happens.
It was a ridiculous fucking week. Holy shit.
Yeah, but the upcoming releases on tomorrow, Uju Sonyo's coming back. This is their most critical release. They're doing it without the China line, so we'll see what happens. It seems like Exy's the new center from the promotional material.
Shit, really? Exy?
Yes, she was the center of every. She was the center of every single scene they had with the whole team in the promotional material.
I'm suddenly really hyped. Oh fuck!
And then on
oh fuck! I'm hyped.
And then on Thursday we have everyone's favorite Dreamcatchers coming back. We'll see if they. I really hope they change it up a little, like anything different.
No more anime openings, please. I love that shit.
I like the anime openings, but we gotta switch it up a little.
Yeah, we gotta switch it up.
But anything else? Let's see. Oh, I bought Warren a Judy fan from Japan. I bought it on eBay, and then I bought myself a Sakura one, and it should be coming in the next couple of days.
Oh my god!
A really funny story. I came home really drunk one night, and I saw a package from Japan on Tokyo. And I was like, shit, someone got some weeb shit from Tokyo. And I walked up, right? And then next morning, my roommate walks in. He was outside, and he came home with a package. He's like, oh, there's a package for you from Japan. And he was like, he handed it to me. And it was like, this really, really flat package. And I instantly knew at the same time it was the fan, and it was like the thing I saw last night. And I opened it while he was watching. And he was, even though he likes K-pop, he was judging so fucking hard.
Bro, okay, so shout out to my sister. She's coming home this weekend. We're gonna watch some Produce 48 because I think she's on episode 4 or 5. She's getting into it right now, and I hope I don't open my Sakura fan in front of her. That'd be really awkward, but it might happen. And I know she's gonna listen to this. So shout out to Danielle. What's up? And then anything else? The last thing was Warren and I are super hyped for iZone, and we're begging for more content.
Please. When are they coming? When are they doing? When is their thing? Reality show?
I don't know, but I hope it happens soon.
Bullshit.
And then that's it. So this has been SojuTalk, your weekly shot of K-pop. Thanks everyone for listening. I'm Doug. Joining me today were Warren, Jenny, and Anita, the crew. Shout out to them. And then our podcast is available on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube. We're going to have a post-podcast discussion of Show Me the Money 777. That's a YouTube exclusive. So thanks everyone for tuning in. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.